Hello, everyone. I'm testing this out. This is the first time I'm ever going live on YouTube. So I'm going to see if it's really even working. Let me check. Alex Wendling MMA. Oh, yes, it does say I'm going live. So let's see. I am basically going to want to talk about Polaris 23. And I'll probably just be talking to myself because there's probably not going to be that many people that go on. Anyways, hello, jiu-jitsu fans. It's Alex Wendling here, and we just got to start off our day or maybe end our night with a wonderful jiu-jitsu event put on by Polaris. This is actually the first Polaris event that I've gotten to catch live, and man, it was such a good one. I think it is putting the sport of women's jiu-jitsu on the right track of the athletes that we have to see and know the names of and familiarize ourselves with. So before I get into the key takeaways, I want to start off with a question to the audience. What did you guys think about that toe hold? Ffion Davies, she was submitted by Elisabeth Clay by a nasty toe hold, and I have not figured out yet how to put B-roll on the StreamYard, but once I figure that out, I will show you guys. So let's go here from your computer, upload file. Okay, yeah, I can't upload that. Yeah, so I want you guys to let me know what you thought about that toe hold that she got and if she might have broken Fionn's foot. I have never been like super hardly toe holded, so maybe some of the fans out here know what that's like, but let me know. And then also, what do you think that this event does for jiu-jitsu as a whole? Like, do you think there's going to be more events for women specifically, whether we have these Grand Prix? And also, what did you think about the scoring system that they had? They did points instead of sub only. I know Polaris is typically sub only, but the points, I think, gives it a definitive winner versus having to go to the judges' decisions all the time or different things like that. So what is your take on using the point system in the Grand Prix format? Now, why was this event important? This event was so important because, one, we got to see the ADCC Champs return for the first time onto the competition mats. And this is honestly, in the eyes of most people, the ADCC Absolutes, because ADCC currently does not have a women's absolute division, which I'm very surprised about. I think that Mo Jassim is making his ways to making that happen in 2024. I think there's no reason for there to not have been this past 2022. I think making new divisions is obviously harder to do, but I think just having the absolute division, because all the fighters are already there, I think that should be easily feasible. So I'm happy that Polaris got to kind of step in on that note and fill in the unknowing. We didn't know who the best was in the absolute division. So Ffion Davies, I need to get her name right. That is very important. Ffion Davies comes in and we start out with a bang. Smallest versus biggest girl on the roster in a brown belt, a 20-year-old brown belt, Giovanna, Jara, who actually missed weight. So she was not able to compete for the belt, but all the girls on the card were super sweet. And they were like, yeah, we want to let her continue to compete. And let me get fancy with my little key takeaways things. Sorry, I'm doing this by myself. So usually people have a producer helping you and then the person on camera, but I'm like trying to multitask. So sorry if this is frustrating for you. But another key takeaway from this event was that Ffion Davies was basically the one who was the catalyst to this whole event happening. I know she kind of went on a few public platforms and was like, why are we not getting on more cards? We have all these badass female competitors. We should be getting more opportunities. And then she had a great podcast with Kendall Roosing on Get a Grip. Listen to that podcast. They just like go to town on all of the things that girls deal with in jiu-jitsu. And it was really eye-opening as a white belt being like, oh shit, like you work this hard and you want to get that opportunity. And now you are ADCC champ and you have the confidence to speak out and say like, hey, we need these opportunities. So I fucking love that. And she is taking on the biggest competitor on the roster in Giovanna Jara de Souza, representing Dream Art. Like I said, a brown belt, 20 years old, and she won the Brazilian trials in 2022 for ADCC. So again, she missed weight, and I didn't really notice her looking sluggish or anything from the weight cut, but they literally had her fly in. She didn't have a coach with her, a teammate, anyone in her corner. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? This is kind of a big deal. You would think someone would be able to be there for her. But she was literally there by herself and doing the weight cut by herself. The people in charge of Polaris literally said, hey, we're going to cut it. This weight cut is a little bit too much. And we're going to have to ask you to not continue cutting weight. So I have a highlight of Fionn right here. Let me try to get it on the screen. Come on.
Beautiful takedown here. She's jumping on the back. Oh, fantastic. And we know
hopefully it'll replay. But basically it was 0-0 for the majority of the time. I think, here it's 1-1, but then Fionn is able to advance it to 4-1. Let's replay that because it was a great takedown, like from her knees. I'm like, that is goal. She just like kept hunting it, and she's so good at hunting the back. This match initially started with let me go back to, we can replay it one more time. This match originally started with Fionn pulling guard. She said that her, game plan coming in, since the girls were going to be bigger, she's not even going to really try to wrestle with them much. But obviously, wrestling still paid off. But yeah, Giovanna looked really good, and she didn't get it done, and Fionn advances to the next round. Fionn. Okay. So match number 2, Elisabeth versus Giovanna Deneva. And I hadn't heard of Giovanna Deneva before, but I did hear on the broadcast that she won the Polaris Contender Series, and she had 5 matches. She got submissions in all 5 matches. So I was like, damn, this girl's pretty good. And then I'm hearing more about this Elisabeth Clay girl in her very high submission rate. And then I see that she's 22, and I was just so surprised. I don't know if it was just like the way she holds herself and the way she talks about strategy. But I was so surprised that she's only 22 years old. And I genuinely think, that was another key takeaway of mine. Elisabeth Clay is that girl. At just 22 years old, I feel like she has the potential to become one of the most decorated jiu-jitsu athletes in the world. She has the highest finishing rate of any jiu-jitsu competitor, male or female. So on her BJJ Heroes account, she has, this is not updated since today, but she was 41 submissions out of 49. Out of the 49 wins she has 41 submissions. So she's not just winning all these fights by points, matches. I don't know if you're one of those people that thinks that jiu-jitsu is a match, not a fight. Sometimes I say fight though. So 41 submissions out of her 49 wins. And then you also take the 2 submissions that she had tonight, which we're going to get to against the first one against Giovanna Deneva, who had a very interesting game plan coming in. She was doing this, I'll take away this now. She was doing this interesting, like kind of almost giving her back away in order to try to get into a leg entanglement. And it basically was just giving away points for her. Her coaches kind of came in one of the interviews and said something along the lines of, yeah, Giovanna doesn't really do a good job of points. Like she's so sub only. And sometimes when you get to the highest level and your strategy isn't on point, like you're not going to be able to beat someone who not only is good technically, is strong, and also has a good strategy. So when you get to the top level, you can be good, and you can be good at submitting and be strong. But if you don't have the strategy for the game that you're playing that day, you're probably going to get roughed up. And boy, did you want to get roughed up by Elisabeth Clay. Say hello to my dog who just got a shower, and he's like making a lot of noise, shaking off all the water. Anyway, I wish I got a highlight from that match, but I don't think I did. Let me check one more time. Nope, that's Fionn. Yeah, I don't have the clip of her handy with me right now, but I would 100% go back. Out of all the matches, I would say watch Elisabeth Clay, all of her matches, but Elisabeth's against Fionn and um, Giovanna. Those two were rough. Like I felt really bad for Giovanna Deneva because she was just getting roughed up so much, and she did manage to get out of some compromising positions, like a really nasty, I think, Kimura attempt. So yeah, then we get on to the third match of the evening. It was Amy Campo versus Julia Mala. I had heard of Amy Campo, but I obviously from ADCC, but I didn't realize going in how much length she has compared to everyone else. And she's only 23 years old. She's only going to fill into that stature more. So I think that's crazy that she's also not only fought Elisabeth Clay 4 times before this, but I don't know. She's just a beast. She's representing Zenith, ADCC champ, 23 years old, dethroned Gabby Garcia. Like, how can you freaking dethrone Gabby Garcia? You have to be freaking good. World Nogi champs, second place absolute, and lost to Elizabeth. She got second place in the absolute and lost to Elisabeth Clay. I'm gonna have to fact check that. But she has fought Clay 4 times, and she's only been a black belt for about a year and a half, and she's only had 1 loss in that year and a half. So, spoiler alert, make it 2 losses. I don't know if the people that are in the stream right now, or if there's anyone in the stream right now, watched the event from today. The winner is obviously Elisabeth Clay, and she beat Amy Campo by points. She didn't get a submission in the last one. So yeah, this matchup with Julia Mala, it didn't last very long. Julia Mala is the European Nogi champ. She is 30 years old, fighting out of Norway, and is the current Grapple Fest champ. And she put up a decent fight, but again, the discrepancy in size was just night and day. Like, Amy Campo was just so much longer than her, and even when Julia was trying to scramble out of things, like, you could just see the power for like pushing her back down. I was like, damn, that's how I feel every day. Third match is between Maggie Grindati versus Brianna St. Marie. And Brianna, I became familiar with in the last ADCC trials with some of her arm bars. She's nasty with it, and she's so sweet. Was an ADCC finalist. She lost to Fionn, and she's a 2022 Nogi Worlds champion. Maggie Grindati, she owns like her own physical fitness place, so she's like very physically built. She looks like a physical specimen that would give you problems, but obviously not as many allocates as some of the other people on this roster. She was a 2022 European champ, won Nogi Worlds at blue, purple, and brown, and she cut 23 pounds to be here, which is crazy. I guess it's not that crazy for like if you're a professional fighter, but to me, in my mind, that's crazy. Like right now I weigh 136, and for my competition coming up this Saturday, I could have cut to 129, but I'm just going to say, fuck it, and I want to eat what I want. And I'm going to stay in the 139 division. Anyway, Maggie survives a brutal Kimura attempt, and then Brie ends up winning by armbar. But you guys should really go back and watch this fight because it was insane, the mobility. I don't know if it was really even just it was the mobility of her arm or like there's going to be some issues for her, Maggie, on that one, but it was a great fight there. And then we go on into the semifinals for each one, which is where Fionn faces Elisabeth. And after Elisabeth's first win, she was on the microphone just like, I'm not looking at this next matchup as anything else. Like, no disrespect to Fionn, but you know, it's just another match for her. Definitely a lot of respect for everything she does, but I'm like super impressed with how stoic Elisabeth Clay is all the time. And then she ends up getting that nasty toe hold, and I'm just like, God damn! Like the angle that the camera had, it really looked like it was broken. Oh my gosh! I just checked the live chat, and I see some people are in here. Hey. Thank you. I'm sure you're gorgeous too. Love ya. right? Good matches. There were some good matches tonight, and it just goes to show that I was having this shot in the this thought in the this thought in the shower today. Like women's jujitsu and men's jujitsu, I feel like they should be eventually really recognized like equally, just because out of all the sports that you could really play, I feel like the entertainment factor doesn't really change when it's between man or woman. Because like, don't get me wrong, I played basketball in high school and I could kind of understand like, oh, you know, it's kind of not as fun to watch women because like some women can't dunk and maybe it's a little bit slower. But in grappling, I feel like the girls are sometimes even more interesting to watch just because the way they move, they're more flexible. It's like they're breakdancing and having a yoga sesh, but it's like aggressive. And it's just a little bit more entertaining, in my opinion, a lot of the times than the men's. Don't get me wrong, there's some great male matches out there. But out of all the sports, like that's why I feel like you see in MMA, it's so highly respected, the women's matches as well, the women's fights. And like you won't really get that same equality in sports when it comes to women's basketball, men's basketball. Like there's always going to be a heavy inclination for men's basketball. And then same for football. Like there's not even football players that really, there's not even a league for women really. Yes, I agree. I think the girls are very creative as well. And I think that you just get to see, I'm just like mind blown about all the stuff that I saw today. Like as being a smaller competitor, like thinking of ways in my game that I could emulate in some of the things that I saw. I'm not gonna lie, I wish I saw a little bit more wrestling. Today, everyone was kind of on their guard pulling strategy, which, hey, it worked. Elisabeth Clay ended up winning, but it was so funny how they just like immediately go into that guard pulling position. But yeah, thanks for commenting, Leopold Janas. In grappling, I love to watch the women's divisions. There's no match that is only pushing fake wrestling that doesn't end up in the ground. Yeah. In grappling, I definitely love watching the women's divisions. I mean, when it comes to one championship and different things like that, I seriously feel like one of the only reasons I tune in is because Daniel Kelly is competing. Like I will, and then if the Rotolo brothers happen to be on the card, I'll be like, okay, I'll go watch them too. But don't get me wrong, I'll seek out Rotolo brother matches as well. But like just something about the energy of the girls competing is, I don't know, maybe I'm biased for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's my take. I do want to know what your guys' favorite point of the match was. And then also once this broadcast ends, like leave a comment on the questions that I had asked in the beginning of this broadcast. Thoughts on that toe hold? Do you think Fionn's foot is okay? I have never been toe held really hard, but it looked like a really tight one. And one of the broadcasters says it might have popped. And you know that Ffion is very competitive. I don't know if she would have tapped without it popping first, which is just shows how freaking graphic this sport is. But I love it. I love it so much. And the final question I asked is, oh yeah, just basically what you think is the best point system for a Grand Prix like this. Like, would you have rather seen a sub-only match, or do you kind of like the points aspect of it? I really appreciated the points today just because you knew who was winning, and like you knew that there wasn't going to go to like this like mysterious decision, and it's just like, what are they deciding on, and different things like that. But sub-only is also cool too because you go into those EBI overtimes. But yeah, let me know your opinion on that. Again, the biggest takeaway from today is that Elisabeth Clay is that girl. She's 22 years old and she has the potential to become the most decorated female grappler, I think. Like she's only 22 years old and I think she has a background in gymnastics and she's just a bad motherfucker, like stoic as hell. The post-fight interviewer guy, he was just trying to get anything out of her and she kept all of her answers under like 10 words. So I love it. Someone here, Andre, just wish the matches were a bit longer. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah, I was wondering if the final event, the final match between for the championship, the Polaris championship would be maybe 30 minutes or something like that. But yeah, I'm just happy that they had an event. So that kind of wraps up my post-fight. I'm so happy I did this because I was literally going to do a whole video that I record and then I like edit everything and then I put the B-roll and stuff. So once I get this StreamYard stuff down, it will be much better and I'll have more moments like this where I'm like showing you guys the B-roll and stuff. But this is my first time on StreamYard, so thank you guys so much for the patience. I'm so happy that I'm not going to have to sit here for the next hour and a half editing. And I'm happy that I get to communicate with some of the people that are in the broadcast. So thank you guys so much. Let me know. Oops, I just added my other computer. I'm good at this, guys. I was born for this. Okay. Banners, let me take that. Thank you guys so much for all the support. We are growing. We are getting to 10K subscribers. And I'm really hoping the growth of my channel will help me get into not only jiu-jitsu tournaments, but also UFC events. And then we can talk about it and have fun on here and build a little community amongst this YouTube page. So I'm just so happy that you guys are here supporting me. And I have a competition coming up on Saturday. So I'm going to take it easy on all of the posting a little bit when it comes closer to my competition. But yeah, I'm just trying to stay consistent and I'll keep you guys updated on all of my jiu-jitsu journey there. Thank you for tuning in. On that note, I'm going to end this broadcast, but I love you guys and I'm going to keep grinding because the sport of jiu-jitsu needs more coverage and I appreciate you guys giving it support. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Mwah! Bye.